Welcome to the Raymond Hall Show. My name is Erica Flynn Walker, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to open up the show with a quote from Mary Bethune. The whole world opened to me when I learned to read. That's a quote from Mary McLeod Bethune. Thank you for allowing us to come into your space today. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, iTunes, and iBeam at theraymondhallshow.com. We're so glad that you allowed us to take this time with you today. What we're going to do is start early in March with you to be able to watch the Raymond Hall Show live on YouTube. So we're going live. Hey. And we would like for each and every one of you to look forward to that up-and-coming new adventure for us. And we look forward to hearing from you, from chiming in from your Facebook and YouTube, from your phone, to let us know what you want to hear, what you have to say, and any new insight that you might want to give us. What I like to start off by saying is that we here at the Raymond Hall Show, for the past Saturday, we digested the numbers. In the Raymond Hall Show audience, we want to know where you are, what communities you're in, and our largest listening and viewing audiences, and what times that you would like to hear us. When do you want to listen to the Raymond Hall Show? What do you want to listen to and view from us here at the Raymond Hall Show? So we're opening up the phones. We're opening up the radio, live stream radio to you, our viewing audience, to get some insight from you so that we can, take your cue. Also, we're going to go to the show. We're going to give you some highlights about our show, which is basically and fundamentally service, a different conversation regarding seniors and veterans. But our message is to an up-and-coming audience, you millennials out there, and the generation whose service voices is yet to be heard. We want to hear from you because, we know we're veterans and we're seniors, but we want the input of the millennials. We want to know what your conversation is all about and what you want us to chime in with you on. Just, an inside tip, FYI, from Erica here at the Raymond Hall Show. So basically, we saw that you came out in numbers in Florida regarding the murders, where the students and adults alike were slaughtered. We heard children speaking through the pain, hurt, and the sorrow. And they want to give service, and then they want to stop giving their service based upon the school massacre and the gun violence. So what we want to say is another quote from Miss Mary McLeod Bethune. I leave you love. I leave you hope. I leave you the challenge of developing confidence in one another. I leave you respect for the use of power. I leave you faith. I leave you racial dignity. And that's again another quote from Mary McLeod Bethune. She is a very prominent woman she was a pioneer. She trailblazed the way from the late 1800s. And so we're going to be showcasing her later today on the show. But during the show, what I like to do is just give you some little jewels of wisdom directly from her, the pioneer, Mary McLeod Bethune. Okay, so take some time if you want to write them down, because this was my first time looking into the dynamic input that she has given, all of the wonderful things that she did. She started educational schools that have touched so many lives and so many people from the way back, like we think 2000 and 2018, but this is speaking of someone that was born in the late 1800s. So, it's time for us to understand. I know we think we got it going on and everything we're doing is new, but guess what? there are people, men and women of African American descent, that trailblazed the ways long before you and I came along. And so what we want to do here at the Raymond Hall Show, where service is our mantra, which we would like to have a different conversation, is highlight those things and just let you know that there are men and women that came before you that have left anchors. They've left things for you to live by, to go by, to pitch your tent from. So we just want you to know that we're here. We're listening to you. Again, my name is Erica Flynn Walker. This is the Raymond Hall Show. You can follow us at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, iCloud, or YouTube. At any time of day or night, you can go to us and you can watch our show, and we really appreciate your input, because what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that our finger is on the pulse of what each and every audience member, concerns are. Okay, so if you have a question or if you would like to call in right now, we're going to open up the lines, and the number where you can call in at is 323-293-3375. Also, 323-293-3375, morrismedialine.com. So, also, I like to say that Mr. Hall is, he will be with us shortly. He's detained for a few more minutes, but I'm going to, do what I do and make sure I do my part as a partner of Mr. Hall at the Raymond Hall Show, and continue the show to move forward so that we can make sure that you get the vital information that you need. Also, I'm just so grateful and thankful to be here in this moment right now with you, because as you know, there's a lot going on in the world right now. We would also what I would like to do at this time is to have a moment of silence for the 17 individuals that were murdered during this last week in the shooting. So right now we're going to take that moment of silence and send out our condolences to the families and friends. We'll take the moment of silence right now. Thank you so much for respecting and acknowledging us, for giving us the opportunity to be able to exercise our freedom of speech, to sit here before you today, take our moment of silence, give you some concrete information and insight on, the current events, the news that's going on right now in our nation's capital, also with something that you want to talk about, things that you want to hear. We don't just want to be up here, giving lip service about what we feel is relevant. We want to hear about what you feel is relevant and the topics that you wish for us to speak on. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be returning with more vital information here at the Raymond Hall Show, where service and conversation is a different conversation. See you when you get back. Bye.
Equally excited to be here with Mrs. Erica Flynn Walker. When it comes to being at a time in your life when you're excited about doing what you're doing, I'm in that place. I'm excited about what I do. I'm excited about who I do it with, and I'm excited about coming into your homes. And we are equally excited about this Black History Month.
Yes, Black History, aka American History Month.
Right, and you were talking about the things that happened down in Florida.
Yeah, that was horrific, and we did take a moment of silence.
Okay, that's good.
Right.
I was encouraged because last month I spoke about. My heart was broke. I mean, just one more time, all of the people that were slaughtered and everything. And I was so encouraged when I saw the children.
Yes.
It took me back to God's word. It took me back to so many places. But to hear the children say that we have a right to go to school without the fear of being shot.
Yes.
Okay, and it just had me thinking about so many things. As a veteran, you're in a heightened state of alert so many times, and then when they talk about PTSD and those kind of things, you just it just seems like that heightened sense of alert doesn't leave. So what caused the heightened sense of alert doesn't leave either. So it was so many things that I could relate. So I was encouraged about that, and I was encouraged about how the children made their point known to the elected officials.
Yes,
So
they did.
there was one story. I have to admit, I'm a Morning Joe guy. Okay, so I look at Morning Joe in the morning, and it was a father there and he spoke about his daughter. I don't want to mispronounce her name, but I think he said his daughter's name was Jamie. And he was saying at 14, she had already told him what she wanted to do. At 25, she wanted to be married and have children, and she worked with developmentally disabled. So to see the children so articulate. So I want to say kudos to all of the teachers that are out there and teaching them. And equally as well, there's a young lady, Mrs. Hill, that's down in Memphis, Tennessee. She has a school called the ESPN Academy. She's going to be a guest on our show in the future months.
We look forward to hearing from
we've got
her.
some exciting jazz. And I must say I was encouraged when the president says that he was putting forth, or he had asked the Attorney General
The DOJ.
to look at this thing about this bump stock and what was turning these semi-automatic weapons into automatic weapons.
Right. He gave us a glimpse of encouragement. Then he dimmed the glimpse with he's thinking that teachers should have weapons. Well, that's something that he suggested, which, I didn't think made a lot of sense. But
no, it doesn't make sense. I'm
going to school to teach a book, open up a book, not carry a concealed weapon. But what we're going to do is we're going to be grateful and thankful that we're having this open conversation right now, which makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. It does make all the difference in the world, but it really should not be. There's been some profound things that has been said. The hurt, the pain, it speaks. And something as wild as giving teachers guns and arming them, and now you got a shootout in the hallway.
Right.
And just the possibility. And one teacher asked, well, are you paying me to be a policeman or a teacher? Which salary? It just gets out there,
Right.
So we're thankful for, and I'm so thankful for you for that moment of silence.
Yes, it's something that is always needed, just for us to take a moment to recognize and to reflect on how grateful we are and blessed to be here, because we never know. So I'm just grateful to be able to exercise my right of freedom of speech.
Right. Well, one of the things, I was talking to my sister in Chicago, and I won't put her on blast by putting her name out there, but she shared something with me that was interesting. She said the Second Amendment is the only amendment in the Constitution that hasn't changed.
Wow.
She says the amendments that had to do with slavery and women not having the right to vote and all of those kind of things, all of those things has changed.
Right.
But what has not changed is this thing to bear arms.
Right. They're serious about those arms.
Yeah. Well, what someone else described it as is this organization has gotten a hold of it.
The NRA.
And they have 5 million members strong, and they are able to push their agenda. But what they are spouting as the right to bear arms is not the intent of what it was. This thing was intended, it was just intended for white slave owners. And they could have guns, and you can follow the dots. You got arms, so if the slaves ever decide to uprise or the British ever decide to come back, you got something to shoot, but didn't nobody else have nothing to shoot but you.
Right.
And through different laws and things, you simply want to carry it. Now, she didn't say all of that. She just talked about the Second Amendment, and I just doing the research. I thought that was interesting.
Right. There was also a comment made by a young lady that was in the town hall meeting last night, which CNN held, and they had over 7,000 people in attendance.
Wow.
And that's where Mark Rubio was, which the governor didn't show up, but there were elected officials there. And she said, during that time that this was made into the Constitution, they had muskets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They did not have a semi-automatic weapon. So this is a whole new series of automatic weaponry that we're speaking of.
Right. When I don't remember what the thing was. When I was in service, M14. When I went in service, they had this thing called an M14.
What's that?
It was a rifle, but this thing was so heavy, and it oh my goodness, it was made of wood and real metal, and it was just a heavy, hard to shoot thing. And then they had the M16, and it was much lighter, and it could shoot faster. Well, the AR-15 was built, and people argued so it could replace the M16. It was designed to be a military weapon.
So the AR, what does that mean?
The AR, automatic rifle, automatic fire, something like AR-15.
Okay, AR-15.
But it was developed for the military.
For the military. So it's a military style weaponry.
It has capabilities to produce more fire and more deadly fire in a shorter period of time.
Wow.
That's the whole deal behind this machine, because M16 was not a joke itself.
Was it automatic?
Yes, we had a switch that you could flip from semi-automatic, where you pull one time at a time, or you just flip that switch and it went straight to automatic. And it was no joke. It was an impressive weapon as well. So
I think this is an opportunity for a lot of people to get a history lesson, because who knew? Like the weapon that you're speaking of versus the new weapon versus what the president suggested was to curtail the bump up of that particular weapon.
Right.
So it's a history lesson that we're having right now.
Well, unfortunately, still when we come back around, it's at the cost of all these children.
I know.
Okay. And the one thing about Miss Hill and the ESPN Academy, what touched my heart. First of all, I got to give kudos to my friend Gerald Harris. We were in high school together, and we wound up being in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
Together. And if it had not been for Gerald, and I was in the Marine Corps, I went in 1971. If it had not been for Gerald Harris being in boot camp with me, I'd probably still be in boot camp.
Wow.
Because I didn't know nothing about boot camp. I mean, I was a music kind of guy.
Right.
So
you couldn't play no music at the people in.
Well, they
didn't want to hear it.
They wanted me to go into the military band, but in the Marine Corps, everybody's a grunt.
Oh, okay.
0311. I don't care if you the commandant of the Marine Corps, your MOS, military occupational, service, whatever it is, MOS, you a grunt.
Right.
Okay?
What does a grunt mean?
Grunt means you a soldier.
Okay, very
you
good.
You out there in the field fighting. Okay, bottom line. You got a bayonet, gun. Okay, so but you have to learn all this stuff, right shoulder, left shoulder, and I didn't.
You couldn't get it. You don't have no rhythm, pretty much.
I didn't have no rhythm for that. Now, that high step in Mars.
Right. You can do that.
I can do that. Okay. But my friend Gerald Harris, he was the one that taught me all of that, and we're best of friends today. So I'm really thankful for that. But he introduced me to a lady. My transplant was 17 years ago, and she has, I won't put all her business, but she has a device where she needs a transplant to.
Wow. So
because of these kinships, we're all from Memphis. He lives in Florida now. I'm here in California, but she's still in Memphis teaching the children.
Wow. And she needs this hard test. So she's still going to work every day.
This the company she started.
Oh, okay.
She started ESPN Academy.
Okay.
There in Memphis, Tennessee. And if anybody want to go to her website, go to her website. She's one of our upcoming guests.
Okay.
ESPN Academy in Memphis, Tennessee, and you'll see all the things that they do. So we're going to have her, and teachers are special. That's where we were with this.
Right.
So the teachers that are teaching tomorrow's youth, we were in a workshop Saturday where they talked about the numbers.
Right.
And I have to say at this point that we kind of cross demographics because I'm going places and I'm seeing things. There's not a 65 demographic out there. Okay,
they're out there.
They're alive.
They're alive.
And there are shows that have that demographic,
right?
But it's not a part of your main stream. Okay, but we're a little different because our service is a different conversation,
right? So
the people who definitely have demonstrated service is that some of that senior and veteran population. So to see the children giving service,
right,
was so encouraging,
and they were so impassioned,
articulate, educated, and they said we have our sources, we have our databases, we keeping up with the people that's taking the money from this NRA,
right? And they were serious about it. And they on PBS last night on Democracy Now, Amy had 2 students, and the students, one was from London. He said in London the most could happen in a school is a little trash can fire. He's like, this is just totally appalling to people watching around the world.
Right?
They just don't get what it is with us in America and this NRA and this weaponry. But you know what? I have faith that we are going to prevail in this argument that we're having.
When we look back at history, I coined something yet again, but it made sense to me. The history of the world is found in the story of her people. So what would the world's history say of our story at this time as Americans?
Right.
We're the only nation that has this kind of carnage at our own hands. So to see the children, some people are still not being as encouraging and supportive. Nothing's going to happen to it. Nothing. NRA going to shut it down. And this and that. I'm encouraged each and every time that there's hope, there's avenue, because when you look at things with your faith eye, you get a different sight than when you look at them with the regular physical eye and that kind of thing. So moving along, we're with you here. You have questions or comments, you can always reach us on our social media platform. We can be found on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, and what else? SoundCloud.
Yes, Instagram.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, where we're looking for your input as our audience members to just touch bases with us and let us know what you think is relevant topics that you would like to talk about.
Right.
As far as where the Raymond Hall Show is concerned.
Okay. And, you can always direct your comments to Mrs. Erica Walker if it's a question that you have for her, and you can always just direct it to me if you have a question for me. While we highlight our senior community and our veteran community, we're actually speaking to the nation. This nation is built on service.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's not all about military service, and it's not all about this or that kind of service. It's just service.
Yes, service, like a small short quote from Mary McLeod Bethune. Knowledge is the prime need of the hour. Simply. Knowledge is the prime need of the hour.
Right. Well, there's so much soul food out there for us that we can digest that help us move along. And to know that these children have said that these weapons are disgusting. You heard words that you wouldn't hear. Adults get the whole back. I can't say that. I got to get this paycheck. I can't say that. They could fire me. I can't say that. I got to meet this more. But children, they
can say whatever they want.
Whatever they want. That's disgusting.
Right.
Who is these people? They disgusting. I'm just telling you the things that I've heard from children's mouths. Okay, and for this father to be on, and he was just in tears about the fact that he will never see his daughter again.
Right.
They've moved the nation, so we are just supportive of that.
What we're going to do right now is we're going to ask each and every one of you to, again, like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TheRaymondHallShow.com. And we're going to take a short pause for the cause, and we will be returning with some more vital information here at the Raymond Hall Show. Well, service is our mantra, a different conversation.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break because we have we want to talk about something new.
Yes.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about something new.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on.
All right, and we are back. Thank you so very much for keeping the Raymond Hall Show on your podcast list and the show on your viewing list. Just a couple of announcements. The American Legion Post 109 is going to have their March meeting on the 24th. We'll have more, March the 24th, we'll have more information for that. And congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Bernard Smith. They're getting married in Las Vegas. And in this situation, what happens in Vegas
Stays in Vegas.
only this one ain't stayed in Vegas. It made it to the Raymond Hall Show.
Woohoo!
Yes, indeed. And
Congratulations to the Lovebirds.
okay. And you have something on
Next I'm going to be making a small announcement. Not small, but it's very informative for you to know. CPR training classes by Dr. Payne, which will be Saturday, February 24th, 2018, from 1 to 5 p.m., and that will be hosted by Clear Path Life Center and Real Results 30, held at Crenshaw United Methodist Church. You can call them at 323-903-5452, and you must RSVP for this event. And this is a free CPR training class.
Okay. I understand that that's very vital. Dr. Payne said something when he was last here that stuck with me, that a lot of people, when they had this problem, they ain't dead. And if somebody was around that knew CPR, their lives possibly could be saved. And I've just remembered that.
Right. And
Yeah.
it made so much sense because, you think, they're not saying anything, they're not moving, they're passed away. But really, he said that their heart is just having a spasm. And if there was someone there to give that breath and that compression,
Yes.
they would be able to possibly, have some more time.
Yeah.
So this CPR training class, again, Dr. Payne, is going to be on Saturday, February the 24th from 1 to 5. It's hosted by Clear Path Life Center and Real Results 30 at the Crenshaw United Methodist Church. Call them at 323-903-5452, and you must reserve your seat.
All right. Now, in looking at Black History Month, we talked about earlier how it originated, and we talked about how it's progressed. We talked about it that if there were an accurate accounting of the contributions of the African American and the African American in America, that there would be no need specifically for that Black History Month. But that sparked something. We decided, Mrs. Walker and I, that we could extend that by each month picking a topic that's vital to the viability of the community. Now, history is always viability because that's the foundation by which you stand, but also economics is the viability of which we stand. And Mrs. Walker is going to, in the coming month, for the month of March, she's going to be doing a segment on economics. Now, back in the day, they used to just say money, 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 money.
They still say that.
Okay, all right. So what we want to do is we want to get a preview of what you're going to be talking about in this upcoming session, in the upcoming sessions for March.
In the upcoming sessions for March. After reading an article in the Los Angeles Sentinel Thursday, February the 8th, 2018 by Jesse Jackson, we decided to take a deeper look into the topic for March in a weekly focused segment towards collaborations, focusing on a Pew Research Center report. Typical wealth of an upper income family was 7 times that of a middle class family in 2016. The gap has doubled since 1983. We look forward to your input and your thoughts on these subject matters. The first week we're going to focus on financial literacy. Financial
Okay.
literacy is something that it sounds like something really big that is a faraway place, but really, once you have literacy about your money, then that's going to make all the difference in the world. So we're going to really get some inside scoops and talk to some bankers and some things that we're going to give you some information, sound information that you can use to start on your path of financial literacy. Next, we're going to talk about real investments, real estate investments, and stocks and bonds and all those things that we hear about every day, which we don't see that we can be a part of, but I'm sure with further investigations we can find a way in. Next, we'll be talking about rebuilding our neighborhoods through service and words and deeds and actions for the communities abroad. Also, next, after rebuilding our neighborhoods, we're going to be talking about affordable housing, because that's something that's a hot topic button issue that we all are concerned with, be it our family members, our cousins, our uncles, our moms, our parents. So affordable housing is something that's very, very vital, and creating jobs, because as we all know, having a job and making money is a way to have a purposeful life. When you know that you're going to get a paycheck, or that you have a job in some way to support your family, that gives you a pep in your step. You're gonna be excited about knowing that you can fulfill your responsibilities towards your family. And then after that, we're going to be
well, that's four.
That's four. The last thing is what we're going to focus on is hashtag Bank Black, hashtag Buy Black, hashtag Give Black in your service.
Okay.
And participating, leading, and not following.
What we'll do, we're only going to have 4 weeks in this month, because Easter is the 5th month.
We're going to try to give you a lot.
Be,
it's going to be concentrated.
It's going to be Easter, the 5th week.
Okay.
We want to make sure that the information reaches a wider audience. So
Absolutely.
When we speak to the African American community, we're speaking to the greater community as well. We're speaking to those persons who are other than Caucasian.
People of color.
This show is about service.
Yes, absolutely.
And I have met too many persons of all races who were suffering from some of the same things that I was suffering from. And some of the people that helped me were people of other color, and people that I have helped have been people of other color.
Absolutely.
So when Mrs. Walker talked about this economic disparity, and I saw it in the paper that I think the black community median income, they identified as $17,500.
Correct.
And the
versus
$171,000
for our Caucasian
for our Caucasian brothers and sisters. Okay. But here's the problem. When that dollar get to the bank, it's not saying I'm a black dollar. I came out of a black pocket or a white pocket.
And that's the reason why we said hashtag Bake Black. And that's a little tidbit of where we all need to do. We all need to support the people so that we can get the support back, which is buying black. That we're gonna, we're gonna
Ms. Walker,
giving black.
Ms. Walker, I'm trying to do this diplomatically.
Okay.
We are going to introduce the power of recycling your dollar in the black community. What we want is we want people to be knowledgeable about that, but we only got 4 weeks. So whatever you decide in those 4 weeks is what we're going to do. But we can't have 5. We got to have 4.
Well, we'll squeeze it all in.
Okay.
By all means.
All right. Yeah, you
as
do
long
it.
as we, touch on those topics.
Okay. I think that the economic thing is very important, and I'm going to tell you why. Mrs. Walker has a company where she's the chief executive officer of that company. what's more impressive to me about being chief executive officer, because you can go out and recruit a chief executive officer, but most of the time it's the visionary who then becomes the chief executive officer or then put someone in that position.
Right.
And when I went to I'mALuxury.com, when I first went to it, I pondered that because I've been a number of places in the world, and I saw places where that would fit. You know, when you come into LAX, you see the big signs where, you know, you got the different very expensive luggages and all those kind of things and it tells you where to go to get it.
Yes.
Okay. And so I went, wow, that's interesting. And then it dawned on me, what an inspiration for someone to thrive to get to that point.
Right.
That's what Dr. King talked about. He talked about if you can dream.
Yes, it's all in your mindset.
Okay. So I'm not here to promote I'm a Luxury, I'mALuxury.com. That's not why I'm speaking about this. Why I'm speaking about it is that I need everyone to consider the value of their service. You serve with a faith eye. In other words, we were talking earlier about we should speak our parents' contributions into existence.
Yes.
My mother passed in 1999, and you could read semblances of her record, but if I spoke, my mother's name is Anastasia Hall. She bore 7 children from 1950 to 1956. And because I haven't asked them, I won't tell their names. But now I'm speaking into a medium where that's recorded for all time.
Right.
Your grandmother that you spoke about on earlier shows,
Yes,
and if
Camille
you've missed
Gibbs.
some of our shares, Camille Gibbs, if you spoke about Mrs. Camille Gibbs, and spoke her name, that contribution that she gave is going to be there at all times, because now they can put that front door of Mrs. Camille Gibbs and the preamble to the Constitution and Mrs. Erica Flynn Walker
And their
all
perspective.
together
Yeah,
in their
exactly.
perspective. So, you know, when we talk about things, it's how you see them. Some things you need to see with a practical eye.
Yes.
They work, they don't work. Some things you need to see with a faith eye. I'm doing this in faith because the end of this thing I may not see. But I know what my part is my part should be this particular service as a contribution to that end goal.
By speaking these things into existence.
It connects us today with yesterday and brings our tomorrows in connection with us today.
Yes.
Okay. So when you look at things that are beyond your capacity to put your physical hand on, lay the hand of your dreams on it. I've been laying my dream hand on a Bugatti for...
Right. It's in your mind. You're going to speak that Bugatti into existence by having the mindset that you deserve this Bugatti.
That's true, but you know, it's just one problem.
What?
I can't see.
You need to have a driver. But it's in your mind. You have a mindset, right?
I'm glad she said that, because I was wondering what I was going to do.
What was you
with
going
it.
to do?
I was just going to sit it up in the garage if I couldn't see. Just go out there and turn it on, let it get warm, feel it.
And rev it and then turn it back off.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to
Yeah.
All right.
To Black History Month.
So anyway, the whole goal is that as Mrs. Walker brings these feature segments in the coming months, pay attention, because this has to do with the service of you to your family,
Yes.
to the service of you to your neighbor, to the service of you to your community. It's important to have viable communities, and one of the things that's essential to a viable community is money, 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 money.
Exactly.
Okay.
Greenbacks.
Okay. So moving along, our next segment is we're going to take a minute, and I talked about veterans. I said that we was going to talk about the process. And the VA has done a couple of things. We actually was going to talk about we actually was going to talk about Mary McLeod Bethune in this section.
Okay.
And then we're going to do veterans, and we're going to close. So let's talk about Mary McLeod Bethune.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, she was a remarkable young lady. She was born in 1875, and she is equal parts educator, politician, and social visionary. Mary McLeod Bethune was one of the most prominent African American women in the first half of the 20th century.
Okay.
And one of the most powerful, known as the First Lady of the struggle. She developed her career in improving the lives of African Americans through education and political and economic empowerment. First through the school she founded, Bethune-Cookman College.
Right.
Later as president of the National Council of Negro Women, and then as a top black administrator in the Roosevelt administration.
Wow. Now, we're getting our source information from Cook, Blanche Wesson, Eleanor Roosevelt, Volume 2, 1933 through 1938, New York Viking Press, 1999, 158, pages 158 to 161. I was so impressed.
I'm very impressed.
And Mary McLeod Bethune, as I researched, she started schools for $11. Now I know the $11 must have been the $11 to the value of that day, but to hear somebody have such a zeal and such a desire and such a commitment that you're going to start a school with $11, you're going to start something else. And I think the article said that she started it with $1.50.
Wow.
Okay, everyone,
That's that financial literacy.
yes, if you really want to make sure that you're on solid ground, this service, when this was revealed to me, I was sharing early, and I share with veterans all the time, but this applies to everybody. We're fortunate. We get a what is this thing when you get out? Your discharge.
Discharge.
Your
okay.
discharge.
Honorable discharge.
Yeah, your discharge certificate.
Okay.
Honorable, general, undesirable, but whatever, you get this paper.
Right.
And it says that you're discharged from active duty in the armed services of the United States of America. And what I invite every veteran to do is to look at that paper, and you'll see something that's not there. You'll see that you have never been discharged from service. Well, I thought about something. My daughter called me today, and we were talking. She didn't ask for anything. She was in, Dad, I'm calling out. I said, baby, I hadn't talked to you in 2 days. Okay. You're never discharged from your parenting, even though they grow up. It's like you're discharged from, okay, I'm discharged from a kid. My kid is a grown person now, but I'm not discharged as a parent.
No.
Okay, and we can see that dynamic in a lot of things that we do. We're just not discharged.
Even when they're full grown, one of my church members says she's a senior and so are her children. And I love her. And you know what? It makes sense. You could have a child that's 60 years old. That is still your child.
That's correct. That's correct. So what we want to make sure is people understand what this show is about. We want everybody to understand the value of their service. Don't let anyone tell you that your service is not important, because when it comes to the wall of service, every brick in that wall is important. And the brick are simply our lives, our contribution to the wall of service. And we want this to be something that America can point through the things that we provide, through the various books and the senior salute celebrations that we do through the country. So go to a senior salute and look and see what a senior salute is about. Write us, talk to us, email us, and make your contributions as you see fit through some kind of service. Matter of fact, your community service is just being neighborly.
It is.
Yes. Okay.
Just by maybe even going and sitting with the neighbor, or even just sitting in perfect silence during someone's time of bereavement. That's an act of service.
Yeah, and this was in the article with Mary McLeod Bethune as well. During World War II, Bethune served as special assistant to the Secretary of War and assistant director to the Women's Army Corps.
Wow.
In the capacity of organize the first women's officers candidate schools, and lobbied federal officials, including Franklin Roosevelt, on behalf of African American women who wanted to join the military.
Wow, she was active. She was not just giving, lip service. So this is an example of your activity and your service that you can give, and it's been going on for a long, long time.
Okay. There's recent history and there is distant history, and we want to thank everybody for their contributions of history. This
Absolutely.
is with the next time we're on the air, we will be on the air in March. So we want to thank everybody for their contributions. Your contribution is important. I especially want to thank the service of Mrs. Walker's humble in some of her ways, but she does a lot of work in her community and with selected groups. I won't call the groups out. I was surprised. There was some groups that she does. When I heard about it, it was a surprise to me, but I am just so very happy that she takes heart to work with the populations that she worked with. We're going to take a minute to talk about the process with veterans as we conclude that history moment, because I think we only have a moment or so left. If we have that, yes, we have 4 months. The process when you're filing a claim, it requires that you have 3 things. Now, the VA has changed things. You don't have to file a whole lot of paper anymore. You can actually do the thing electronically. You don't have to go down to, if you so choose, you don't have to go down to the federal building and sit and wait. You don't have to go into a service office, a disabled vets or something. You can file it electronically, just register with eVets and those kind of things. It's a beneficial system because you can see your documents, you can see them uploaded, that kind of thing. But the process, you need 3 things. A service connection is defined as something that you incurred in service or was aggravated in service. So if I have something where I'm injured in service, that's a service connection. Or if I had something prior to service and it was aggravated, that's a service connection as well. Okay.
So that's a key word, service connection.
That's this service connection is a designated outcome of your filing a claim.
Okay.
It's either going to be approved and you're going to have the designation of it being service connected, or it's going to be denied and you need to go through the process of filing an appeal or that kind of thing. The next thing that you're going to need to be able to show is you're going to be able to need to show that it's not enough for me to say that, I got hurt in service. Okay. You're going to be able to need to document that. Now, go back, listen to us, look at us again, but the best place to go and where you do go officially is the National Personnel Record Center.
Okay.
Okay? You simply go online to the National Personnel Record Center. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. And you request your service records. Now, your service records is different from the medical records you have as a veteran. Your service records are a part of the Department of Defense. Your records as a veteran is a part of the Department of Veterans Affairs. So you need to get the records from the National Personnel Record Center in order to support your claim if that stuff is there. Okay, and then when you put that with your claim, we're going to talk about that in our next show.
Very good. Well, that was very informative. We all need that.
Okay.
The people that are veterans, that is.
Well, it's not only just for veterans.
The veterans and their families.
Veterans and their families, but one of the things that we need to, too often veterans pass and they didn't get their records. So now everybody, like you were talking about your
My
uncle,
dad and
your
my uncle, mhm.
that told you all about
Him fighting in Paris, wearing the uniform.
Right. And a lot of times people don't put it in stock. Oh, let me get those records while they're here.
Right.
So when they pass on, now you're struggling trying to remember and trying to get this. So it's not just for the veteran. You want to get it for the veteran just in case you need to file a claim. But those are some records that you definitely want to have in hand on the veteran.
For the survivors of the veterans.
For the family
For
too.
the family too.
Okay. And you absolutely want one or two things. You definitely want a DD 214. That's David 214.
Okay.
Or in earlier periods before that, it was called a separation paper. That document is the essential document that you must have in order to apply for service. But we're going to get into that because now we're down to closing. So we're going to take this last minute to do closing, and I will, you did the opening, so do the closing.
Okay, I'd like to say thank you for your time and letting us come into your homes, in your office, or wherever you may be listening to us at. We appreciate you. My name is Erica Flynn Walker. This is the Raymond Hall Show, and I'd like to close in my last little few minutes with a inspirational quote from Mary McLeod Bethune. World peace and brotherhood are based on a common understanding of the contributions and the cultures all races and creeds.
Wow. Smart lady.
Smart lady.
It need to be like a box of cornflakes. It need to be in everybody's house, on everybody's
Yes!
In other words, on your mouth and on your heart.
And these are things that literally came out of this woman's mouth, which is, sends a cold chill through my body right now. So again, thank you for letting us be with you today. This is the Raymond Hall Show. My name is Erica Flynn Walker, and I'm here with Raymond Hall.
Well, goodbye. We'll see you next time. Thank you again for letting us into your space. This is the Raymond Hall Show, where service is a different conversation. And remember, your service gives someone else an opportunity to serve. Have a good evening.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TheRaymondHallShow.com.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Ta-ta.
Bye.